Alright guys, you saw the title and thumbnails video. In this video guys, I'm going to be reviewing a 900 elo game that one of my viewers sent me, and it has 9 great moves in it. And believe it or not, 8 of them were played by our protagonist, playing with the white pieces, playing from India, while only 1 of them was played by their opponent, playing from Britain, playing with the black pieces. Before I begin guys, if you enjoyed this, please drop a like and subs, that would really help the channel a ton. If you really enjoyed this video, you can also drop super thanks. If you have any games you may want me to review, comment them down below. And by the way, every time somebody sends me a game, like a viewer, if they comment under the video of me reviewing their game, I like to pin it. So the person who sent me this game, you can comment right now and I'll pin your comment. Anyways, let's just begin. So the game starts off with d4, a book move, obviously. Pretty much any move, like starting off, besides maybe pushing like this pawn or this pawn is a book move. And then we have the response e5. Okay. Then we have knight to c3, which is apparently an inaccuracy because, you know, they can just take the pawn and automatically put an attack on the knight, but then you just capture back, and that's exactly what happens. Then we have queen to f6, which is not really a good move because it kind of already leaves the queen, like, under attack. Like, what you could do, for example, maybe, like, just trade really quickly, which already destroys this position for black, like, all of these pawns. Because, you know, now they can't really castle over here because, well, one of the pawns will be disconnected from the rest. Then you can put your bishop over here and then just capture this pawn. But okay. Then we have queen e4 check. And they block with their bishop, which is also an inaccuracy. And now it's literally winning by almost 2 points for white. Well, apparently just 1.5. I think the reason is because probably, once again, you can just attack... let me just show you. Like, this weak pawn over here, probably. I think that's why, or maybe just because the queen is very easy to attack because it's just out in the open, there's no defenders. And then we have the response, knight d5, which is apparently the best move. The queen goes over here, and now the game is totally winning for white in just 5 moves. Wow. And the reason is because of a move that I didn't see myself. And I'm actually rated 1100. Well, sometimes I'm rated 1200, sometimes I'm rated 1100, but recently I haven't won many games, so yeah, my rating has fallen to 1100. They play the move, bishop to f4. Which is apparently the only winning move. Because it attacks the queen has to move. Like, this is guaranteed going to happen no matter what. So what black does is that they develop their knight. Obviously putting an attack on the queen. And what happens is that white captures, their opponent captures the queen, and now you can just play this move, and I think that's exactly what happens. Yeah. The king moves. The rook is captured, and apparently this is a mistake. I do not know how this is a mistake, but okay. We won't question the engine. Black captures the bishop. And then white long castles. And the reason this is losing is because of this fork, which their opponent does find, which is apparently an inaccuracy. I don't know how, but okay, just don't question the AI. Probably because you can just capture this bishop, and I think that's exactly what happens. Another great move. Then we have the knight capturing this rook. And now the game is literally equal, pretty much. Well, the knight is trapped, so... If I were playing with the white pieces, I'd bring the rook back, maybe try to allow the bishop out, then try to get the knight developed, and then just capture the opponent's knight really quickly. Then we have pawn to e4. And now the game is actually losing for white. And trust me guys, this game does not end how you would expect it. Then we have knight to f2, the knight escaping, obviously, because, well, that's obviously the best move. Then we have this move, pawn to e5, again, not a bad move, it's a good move. Then we have pawn to b6. Then we have bishop to e2. And at this point, if I were playing with the black pieces, I'd probably just try to like get rid of this knight altogether. Because if you can capture this knight, you're just going to make white down a piece. But instead, the knight moves back to e4, putting an attack on the rook. Then the rook attacks the knight. The bishop moves to defend the knight and attack this knight at the same time. Then we have the move bishop to f4. Like, our protagonist is playing this very well. Because if this knight moves... this bishop is going to get captured. There's no stopping it. I mean, like, sure, you can try to defend with a pawn. And instead, we just have bishop captures. Then the bishop captures the knight. I think a trade happened. Yeah. And then the rook captures. Then we have rook to e8, developing the rook. Then we have knight to f3, developing the knight. Then we have knight to f6. Well, no, not f6, c6. Then we have pawn to a4. Now, the idea is probably just, like, push pawns, hopefully just break the opponent, like their defenses pretty much, and just like promote. I think that's the idea, just break the opponent's defenses. Then we have a pawn being pushed, attacking the rook. Rook moves, another pawn is pushed. And then we have the move g4. I mean, they can just capture, but okay. Instead, knight captures, which I'm not sure if it's the best move. I don't think it is because the game isn't saying it's the best move, but okay. Then we have pawn captures, and never mind, I am totally wrong. I think we have knight captures. Yeah, we do. Then the rook captures, and now we have pawn captures. Yeah. Sorry, guys. Anyways, we have the rook capturing. Then we have a pawn push. Then we have another pawn push. Then the rook moves. Then we have pawn to g5. And now the idea is obviously just to push the pawns and make a queen over here. And I don't think white can really defend this very well because, well, they just have one pawn and it's on the h-file. And the A and H files are literally the worst files for pawns in the entire game. Like, for example, in king pawn endgames, if you're up a pawn but it's an A or H pawn, it will literally end in a draw guaranteed. So they're not good pawns at all for defense or to like make them a queen pretty much. So instead we have pawn to a5, and now the game is like totally losing for white. They capture. White gives a check. The king moves. White moves the rook to attack this pawn. The pawn moves. They pin the pawn to the rook. The king moves. White pushes another pawn. Well, no, not another pawn. This is like the first pawn they pushed in like the past 3 moves. Then black moves. White moves. The rook moves. The other rook moves. Now just pawns are being pushed. Now black is attacking this pawn because there's literally no saving it. White basically has the idea that if you capture this pawn, I'll capture your pawn. And then we have the move king to f5, which literally loses the game in 1 move because of this move. And now black is just totally dead lost. The rook obviously gets captured. Then we have pawn to g3. White captures, black captures back. The rook moves, the king moves. And now this move has literally turned the game into a draw pretty much. Because black can just attack the rook, you can sacrifice the rook if you want, and then it's just going to be a draw between white and black trying to stop each other's pawns. It just won't work pretty much. Yeah, we have the move king to f3. Then we have the rook moving to d2. Then we have pawn push to g2. Then we have rook to d3, giving a check. King moves, another check. King has to move. Then the pawn obviously has to be captured, otherwise it will just promote. And now the game just looks like it'll be a draw. And the white is trying to stop black's king from moving. And black loses the game because of king to f5. The king moves up. King to f6. The king moves up again. The king captures. And now, yeah, the game, it is just totally lost for black because now white is just going to promote this pawn guaranteed. And that's exactly what happens. And at this point, our protagonist's opponent playing with the black pieces abandoned the game. I know it says resigned, but when I opened it, it said they abandoned the game. What did we just watch? Can you believe how many great moves there are in this game? Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And only 1 from their opponent. Wow. That is amazing. Like, what did we just watch? Like let's just recap. Normal opening. Potential strategies. A blunder already on move 5 pretty much. Multiple trades. Then the game going back to being basically equal, if not winning for black. Then even more great moves. Then a few pawn pushes, development of pieces. Then even more great moves, then trades. Then the pieces developing. And then looks like white will lose the game, but instead, white attacks black's pawns, and it looks like white is just going to guarantee lose the game, but instead, black makes a blunder and loses the game. And blunders the rook. Then we have a trade of pawns. Then white is forced to sacrifice the rook. And then black makes the mistake of going king to f5, just blundering the game pretty much. And then probably the game was abandoned, not because of low connection or anything, but because black realized they were going to totally lose, and this pawn was just going to guarantee to promote. Mate is literally on the board. It's mate in 23, although obviously nobody's going to see that. But yeah, guys, that's the whole video. If you enjoyed it, please drop a like and subs. That would really help the channel a ton. If you really enjoyed this video, you can also drop super thanks. Comment down below any game you may want me to review. And yeah, the person that sent me this game, I'll pin your comment if you comment under this video. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye!